Hello, I'd like to show you how I use Doctopus to facilitate challenge problems in my math classroom. I have been using Google Classroom, but Doctopus does a much better job of being able to do groups or partners and have the students automatically shared with the person next to them or sitting at their table without having to do any sort of workaround through Classroom. So I still use Doctopus for this, even though I have been using Classroom to do most of my sharing. First of all, you need the Doctopus add-on. If you don't have it, you can go to Get Add-ons in a Google spreadsheet. Often it's one of the first ones that you find, but if not, you can search for Doctopus and then install it from there. I already have it, so I'm going to go and launch Doctopus. In the beginning of the year, one of the first things I do is send out a survey to my students, and through that survey using Google Forms, I get their email addresses and their first name and their last name, the class period, whatever I need so that I can make a roster. And I use that for multiple things, but mostly for Doctopus. So you can see I have a couple different rosters in here. I'm going to use my period 4 just to show you. Everything's already set up, and you can always edit your roster here. There's lots of videos on YouTube on how to use Doctopus. I'm going to just focus on using the student groups or partners. I'm going to use this roster. So this is the beauty of Doctopus, is when it's asking about the sharing arrangements, instead of individual, all the same, which is what I would normally just do through Google Classroom, I'm going to do project groups. I can decide whether the whole class can see each other's group, so sometimes I'll allow them to view or edit if I want them to look at each other's work. I want group members to all be able to edit. You can add a co-teacher if you want. And what Doctopus is going to do is automatically set up groups for all your students. So sometimes this works, that it is semi-random in that Doctopus just set up a number of groups. So you can see that the first student is group A, second group B, so on and so forth. But I want them to work with the student next to them. This does take some time in the beginning of the year. I will go through and label those groups. But what I usually do is go back into my Google Drive and find an old Doctopus that I can use. So I have it open here. This is a different challenge problem that I did at one point with this period. And so I've already set up the groups correctly so that I want these two, Amanda and Jasmine, to be together because they sit next to each other. So instead of using the groups Doctopus set up, I'm going to just copy from an old Doctopus assignment and paste it into there so that now I have the same groups. Sometimes what happens is I want more groups than what Doctopus set up. So right now it's not showing all of the groups that I have set up. If you can see, I have a J group on here, not there. I just have to go back, let it think for just a second. Press save and continue again, and then Doctopus will notice that I have these new groups set up. You need to find the assignment template up here, so that's the Google Doc that you should have already set up. You want to make sure that you're choosing the correct folder, so I will use one that's in my Unit 7. And then you go in here and find the file that you're looking for. You can use any type of file, but what you really want is a document, a Google document, and then you want to select that for each group. To make this faster, I can press D. I have a couple different documents in here and just kept pressing Tab D. I'm pressing D until I find the document that I'm looking for. and make sure that that goes into each group. And you could do different documents per group if that works also. Press save and continue. What I like is that each group's file will now say Group A, Group B. I can change this Table A, Table B, whatever I want. And I can add last names, first names into that, but each group just gets one document instead of multiple documents that students have to share. I have to create a new folder to make sure that this all gets organized in my drive. And then at this point I can press run, copy, and share, and Doctopus will make 10 new documents. So that's, I have 20 students, it's going to make 10 documents, one for each table, and the same links will come here. So I can see the file name and the file key for each student, but it will be the same file name for any pair. I'm not going to press run, copy, and share because I don't want them to get this document right now, but I hope this helps. The key is to make your groups early on so that you can cut and paste from an old Doctopus spreadsheet and use it again. Thanks for listening.